The Mutant. Darktide's loudest and beefiest disabler is a little more complex than you may initially think, and has a few quirks the game and the promoted guide in the launcher do a terrible job at explaining.
If they manage to grab you, they disable you and throw you around. The first time, they throw you. Not always, sometimes they'll just throw you. The second time they grab you, however, they'll deal decent damage to you and throw you again.
What? The Mutant's basic behavior is pretty simple. It picks a target and will then charge towards it. If that target stops being valid, like by getting disabled, ledged, going invisible, or dying, the Mutant will stop for a bit, and then start a charge towards another target. When impacting a player, the Mutant will slowly come to a stop, and from then on, two things can happen. The Mutant is stopped by a hard surface and will throw the player without damaging them, or the Mutant is not stopped by a hard surface and will pound the player before throwing them away. As a precaution or as a last resort, it's always better to position yourself so the Mutant will slam you into a wall. Keep in mind Darktide is very, very broken, and some walls or doors don't count as hard surfaces. While grabbed by a Mutant, enemies aren't supposed to be targeting you. Gunners, bursters, and flamers outright ignore that rule. Snipers will lock onto you while grabbed, but cannot shoot you. They can't initiate a shot while you're grabbed, and if a shot does go out right as you're getting disabled, the Mutant will eat the shot for you. This doesn't apply to their melee attacks, and they will kick you to death should the opportunity present itself, just like gunners, bombers, and flamers. Environmental hazards like barrel or bomber fire can and will damage you while grabbed. There's a few things you can do to avoid a Mutant grab. A Mutant's charge can be avoided by dodging or sliding. As long as you aren't doing it directly into them, you should be good. Mutants have a limited turning radius and will fail to turn sharp corners, instead ending their charge prematurely before stopping to start a new one. They also sometimes stop and instantly start another charge instead of waiting for their charge to whiff before starting a new one. They're very janky around corners, so always dodge out of the way and don't rely on them stopping their charge consistently. You can also make a Mutant miss by moving very fast at an angle, but it's very inconsistent and never worth the risk. Just always dodge or slide. Going invisible will make a Mutant stop and start a new charge towards another target. There are some things you can do to stop a Mutant in his tracks. Some weapons have special attacks that can stun a Mutant. The Sapper Shovel, Tactical Axes, and Dueling Swords will stop a Mutant on a special attack headshot. The Plasma Gun will also stop a Mutant on a headshot. The Surge Staff will stun Mutants, usually in 2 zaps, but sometimes in 1. It isn't related to the damage dealt, crits, headshots, your peril, or if the Mutant is charging. Jasper of the Dawn from my Discord did a deep dive into the code to find what determined whether the Mutant got stunned in 1 or 2 shots. And he's pretty sure it's due to the Surge Staff randomly rolling the damage and the stagger power of its charged shot. If you roll high enough, you stagger the Mutant outright. If you don't roll high enough, you only build up enough stagger to stun him on your next shot. This would also explain the inconsistent damage of the staff. Right-clicking the Surge Staff deals 4 ticks and then 1 big instance of damage. It randomly targets body parts for each tick and for the final instance separately. The Surge Staff ignores body part multipliers except for the weak spot. Small ticks cannot crit but can hit weak spots, and they always deal the same damage. The big tick at the end, however, can crit, can hit weak spots, and is extremely inconsistent. Some active abilities will also stop Mutants in their tracks. Veteran's Shout, Ogryn's Charge, Ogryn's Taunt, Psyker's Shield, Psyker's Smite ability, Zealot's Relic Pulses will all stun the Mutant. Stopping a Mutant while he's holding a player will make him drop that player. And that's all you need to know about muties. If I forgot anything or you have any questions, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I also stream Darktide nearly every day on both YouTube and Twitch.